Well, the CIAC has been working tirelessly to put a plan together for these athletes for the fall season. Now, there was an expected announcement at some point on Thursday, and that's not going to happen. We understand that it will be pushed now to Friday, as the CIAC wants to speak to the superintendents all across the state. Executive Director of the CIAC, Glenn Lungarini.
We know that sports help connect kids to schools, communities, and peers and develop meaningful relationships. Our superintendents will have the first look at this tonight and tomorrow morning, and it will be released to the public tomorrow at noon.
While Lungarini didn't talk specifics of the plan, the fall season is expected to be shorter and start in late September and finish up in mid-November. Games would be more regionalized. Reportedly, football would have between 6 and 8 games, which includes what the CIAC is calling a regional tournament experience. For other sports like girls swimming, field hockey, girls and boys soccer, and cross country, there can be an upwards of 14 games or meets, including the regional tournament experience.
And we're confident that the plan that we put forth aligns with the state's goals to return kids on campus.
As the CIAC was meeting on Thursday to continue its discussion on the fall season, during Governor Lamont's coronavirus briefing, Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, a former presidential health advisor, was adamant about contact sports, specifically football, should not be played.
We do need to be safe and put safety number one, and I think contact sports are not a good idea. I think, for 1 year, we're probably going to have to take a miss on it.
Lungarini responded to those comments and is confident in the CIAC's plan for Connecticut high school athletes to return to the playing field.
As we re-enter to play now, we do it with the knowledge and understanding that sports are successfully happening in Connecticut right now. Our plan remains fluid. We remain in a perpetual state of evaluation with this. We feel it is appropriate to re-engage in all of our fall sport offerings, including football.
Of course, stay with Fox 61. We'll continue to update this story as it progresses. For now, that is the latest. I'm Sean Pagano, Fox 61 Sports.